This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2020 Flagstaff Shamrock Model 19. Alrighty. So we're on the door side of the trailer at the rear. You can see at this point the bed doors are down. Looks like they were cleaning it. So you have regular crank down stabilizer jacks, scissor type, that takes a 3/4 inch socket or the 3/4 inch crank that comes with it, okay? Also, your steps fold into the trailer. You just keep in mind that if you're on uneven terrain, you can adjust the length of the legs. And you can pull this pin here and you can adjust it so it'll stay stable. The thing is, you always want to remember you want them low enough so this piece lines up with the threshold. It's kind of parallel with it. If it's up too high, then the door will bind up. So you always want to adjust them so it's oops, I'm sorry, my camera's off. So it's even with the threshold there. Okay. You have a power awning with LED strip, of course. You have outside speakers. Now this vent here is the vent for the range hood. Now if you're going to run the fan in the range hood to vent it, you have to reach up here and free up this baffle right here. Hopefully you can see that. It's hard for me to see the monitor here. Let me see if I can turn it. Yeah. So you want it to be able to flap like that freely when it's venting. But when you're not venting, just keep it shut like that. You always travel with it shut, and there's no reason to have it open unless you're venting. All right. Also, you have a bracket to hang a TV set. You have antenna through and power. This rail right here is where your grill hangs. So the grill hangs on a rail bracket right here, and there's also a small table that goes with it too. Just keep in mind, there's also an LP hose that attaches to the grill, and the other one will attach right here. You can see the yellow cover on the valve. Now let me get down here so I can show you. There's actually a valve lever on this. You can see it right here. So once you plug it in, you bring this forward into that position parallel with the fitting. That way it'll turn the gas on, and when you put it all perpendicular like it is now, it's off. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. This is your hitch. Obviously, we'll explain the hitch to you when you come to pick up the trailer. It's a weight distribution hitch, which makes a world of difference when you're pulling it. Also, this is your crank here that I told you about. Now this crank, let's see what we got here. Nope. Let me look a little farther here. Okay, this crank here, the smaller one, let me get it in front of the camera here. Okay, it's a smaller one. I'll set it right there so you can see it. That is in case the power tongue jack fails. If it does, you can, of course your bed has to be in the up position, but you can pull that plug on the top of the power tongue jack and use that crank to crank it manually. So you can get yourself out of trouble doing that. Also, this is the table I told you about. It's still in here, but it just hangs right on that rail next to your grill. Okay? Alright, so this little hook up here is just in case you want to buy a solar panel for your battery to charge it. If you were to purchase one, you can plug it in right here. It's wired to charge the battery. Doesn't do anything else, doesn't run the trailer, just charges the battery. Of course, this is your power tongue jack. You've got two LP tanks, they're both full. The regulator is an automatic changeover regulator, so it's going to draw the door side tank down first, then the off door side, and back and forth. You have two Deep Cycle Marine batteries run to, or wired to 12 volts. So they're wired together to double the storage capacity, but it continues to be 12 volt. All right. Okay, so yeah, you will show you these when you come to pick up, but these are called roto vices of all things, but this is the lever and the clamp that you use to lock your bed doors into place when it's closed. Alrighty, just more storage here. This is to fill your onboard fresh water tank. If you happen to be camping at a campground, that does not have plumbing on the campsites, you can pre-fill your water tank on board and use the onboard pump to pump it. The most common way to get, let's walk back here, to get water to your trailer is through the city water hookup right here. I'm at the back of the trailer. Let me back up so you can see where I'm at here. Okay. So normally you're just going to hook the hose onto here and turn on the water, and pressurize your trailer. You're ready to go. If you don't have city water, then you would fill the tank through the fill that I showed you at the front of the trailer on the door side or off door side. So you can, in both situations, you'll have running water. Now this is something you have to educate yourself a bit more about if you don't know about winterizing. But this trailer, the antifreeze is drawn into the trailer from the outside here. So you'd actually have a hose that goes under here. You have to make one up. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get the pieces. This is just a regular garden hose type fitting here. So you'd make it long enough to reach the ground, and basically you'd screw the hose on here. You put the other end into a gallon of antifreeze. You turn on your water pump and you pump the antifreeze through the system. Now, there's things you have to know. You have to bypass the water heater before you pump any antifreeze in, because it'll leave a foul taste in the water heater and a bad smell that won't go away. The antifreeze will. So they give you valves on the back of the water heater to bypass it. So before you pump any water into, or I keep saying water, I'm sorry, before you pump any antifreeze into it, you always want to bypass the water heater. All right. Now, this other one is a black tank flush. I'll show you what that does right now. So that black tank flush would be here. So these are your valves down here to dump it. You got a gray valve right there, and then you have the black tank valve right there. So you hook your dump hose right on here. The other end goes into the dump station. This is closed like that normally. So to dump the black tank, you're just going to pull this open. You always dump the black tank first, because the black tank is toilet water and waste. So it's the dirtiest of the water. Then you would pull the valve on the gray side, which is sink and shower water, and it sort of cleans out the hose. It's cleaner dirty water than the black tank water is, okay? So you do that. Then, if you leave your black tank valve open, that's important to leave it open. It'll tell you that right on the sticker here. You hook up the hose of the dump station right here and turn on the water, and it'll spray the inside of your black tank. Of course, there's benefits. It just cleans it out in general, but the main benefit is it cleans off the sensors in the tank, so you continue to get a good, accurate reading on your monitor panel of how full it is. So it's always good to use your tank cleaner here, and if you don't use it, it's sometimes you just can't. But if it's at all possible, it's a good thing to use. Okay, so that's the black tank flush. This is cable and satellite through. These are just coax male ends here, like so. Okay. All right, let me walk back here and see what else we got. This is just a shower. It's an outdoor shower for kids and dogs and feet and bicycles, anything you need to hose down. It's hot and cold water both. This is a service panel for your refrigerator. You don't really have to go inside there. It's just for servicing it, because that's your furnace vent right there. And this is your water heater. So this particular water heater will work on both gas or electric. Most people use electric because they're paying for it at the campground, and you don't have to guzzle up your limited propane running the water heater. So basically, the thing to know, the switches are inside to operate it, but there is a switch here. Let me pull the tape off. Right here, lower left-hand corner, you can see it right there. It should be off when you're not using it. And with this switch controls electric heating element that's behind this cover right here. So keep that in mind. That's the only switch that's outside. You always want to make sure there's water in the water heater tank before you turn on the gas or the electric. If you don't, that's considered dry firing. It's not a warranty issue, and it will definitely damage it. Especially if you run it on electric, it'll just take you 30 seconds or so, minute tops, to burn out the electric heating element. So keep that in mind. Always make sure there's water in it. You do that by hooking up your city water. Then you'll turn on a hot water valve inside the trailer. If it's blowing air out, obviously it's empty. As it fills, it'll be blowing out a mixture of water and air, and more water. When it gets to the point where solid water comes out, you know that it's your tank is full. So then you can turn it on. All right. Also, the other thing to know, this is where you drain it from right here. It takes an 1.16" socket. This is a pressure release valve. Never release the pressure or pull out the plug unless the water tank is cooled down completely. I know that's pretty self-evident, but you would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't. You know, obviously you don't want to scald yourself or worse. So after it cools down, you'll pull the release valve to let the pressure out of it before you take this plug out. If you don't, it'll come shooting out of there like a cannonball with a gallon or so of water behind it. So always let the pressure out first, but the most important thing is letting it cool down. All right, moving along. So I'll talk to you about your roof as I'm walking back here. All trailers have to have their roof inspected every 90 days. So you figure 3 times a season here in Michigan. You go up there in the spring, you go up there in the middle of the summer, and go up there in the fall. And you can walk around. It's very strong. You know, several people can walk up there. So you send somebody up there who doesn't have a problem with heights, and just look at all the sealant down the roof. Sometime, somewhere, it's usually at a corner area, but not always, you'll start to see some separation or cracking starting. You don't know when that's going to happen. It can go years without happening, or it could go 1 year without happening. You just don't know. That's why you inspect it. And I'm not just talking about this trailer. This is every trailer ever built. So owning a trailer, inspecting the roof on a regular basis is part of owning it. So make sure you do that. It's very important. If you see some cracking, some separation starting, get it taken care of immediately. You don't have to redo the entire roof, just that area. It's cheap, it's simple to do, and it'll save you a major headache. So make sure you do that. Also, that is your backup camera up there. Looks like you have one installed, so we'll show you about that. Basically, when you turn your running lights on, it'll light up the camera. It won't work on most tow vehicles. It will not work if you just have your headlights on automatic. You actually have to physically turn them to the on position for it to light up. Okay? And of course, that's just a little a receiver for a rack. I think it's got a 300-pound limit. I think there's a sticker there that'll tell you that. But you can put an attachment on there if you choose to. Okay, so let's go inside. I did mention the power awning and the LED strip, I'm sure, so we'll start with that. So we'll come inside here. This is your control panel. So awning extend and retract. So we'll extend it part of the way to give it a shot here. You can see it just rolls out nice and quick and quiet. Now the thing, it goes out 8 feet, right? And then you'll be able to see the awning tube like right there. So you know you're all the way out, right? Also, if you want to pitch it, you can pull this arm down. Well, let me get a better picture of it. You can pull down on this and then tighten this into a different position, so you could actually pitch it so water will flow away from the door, let's say, so that you can actually do that. Just make sure you always loosen the knob before you bring the awning back in. All right, and never leave this out unattended. If you're not going to be at the trailer, then you roll the awning in, because the wind can ruin it in just a second, and that's basically an insurance job. So you know about dealing with insurance companies. It's to be avoided if possible. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. So these are your levels here. So the battery, you can see it's charged. Always check it when you're not plugged in though. Freshwater tank has a third in there because we're still prepping it. You can see it's 1/3, and it graduates up in 1/3 increments as it fills. The lights light up. Black is empty and gray is empty. Once the black and gray get up to 2/3, you have to start thinking about dumping, because you're going to have to dump the tank soon. So keep that in mind. I told you that you have a water pump that's right here. This water pump is run when you're carrying fresh water. If you have city water, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so only when you're carrying fresh water. Also, it's used when you winterize the trailer. All right, and here are the other switches. I showed you there's an electric switch outside, kind of a holdover switch. Keep in mind, this is the second one here, so that's the other one. And there's your gas switch. Always make sure there's water in the tank, like I said. Your lights here, awning lights, porch light, interior light. Now, this is the Wi-Fi Ranger, right? So I just turned it on. This sticker here, I know you won't be able to read it very well, I don't think, so I'll just describe to you what I'm doing. It says, at the top it says, this is Sky4 LTE 7074. So when you look at the Wi-Fi on your phone or your tablet, that's what you're looking for. That is the Wi-Fi Ranger on the roof of this trailer, right? So basically you would take all your family's devices and you would put the password for the Wi-Fi Ranger in there, so it'll automatically hook up to it. The Wi-Fi Ranger is a signal booster. It's got a firewall, but its main function is to be a signal booster. It works really, really well for public Wi-Fi. And so your temporary password has changed to be now 7074. To see what the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, you go to this IP address here on the bottom. That's its control panel. So 10-170.74.1.80.80. That's the IP you go to, and you'll see what the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. Of course, you'll reset your password to something that everybody knows and can remember. So basically, when you get to a campground or any place with free Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, you'll everybody's phone will automatically attach to the Wi-Fi Ranger, and you'll have to go to this IP address. Whoever operates it will go to the IP address and attach the Wi-Fi Ranger to the public Wi-Fi. Okay, so it's a good thing. Now there is a paid function that would be between you and your wireless provider. It does work with a SIM card. It would be whoever, if you get it through AT&T or Sprint, whoever you're getting it through, it would be like paying for another phone basically. So you'd have to pay for data and all that. But most people do not use that version of it, that aspect of it, because there's no need for it. They don't need that much Wi-Fi that reliably. When people run or work from their trailer, like some people do, then they will have that feature because it could come in handy. But generally speaking, people use the free Wi-Fi part of it. Okay. All right. Also, while we're standing here, this is your thermostat. It's just analog. Flip it to the right, heat, fan, cool. Fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. Always try to keep the fan on auto. That's the place to keep it. And so on and so forth. Now, I just want to tell you, we're going to show you how this packs away, but basically you're going to pull this bar out here. Then the crossbar will fold down. You can see this mattress has a crease in it down here. All right? So this bar and the crossbar will fit right in the crease here. Then you're going to fold it over like that, and then you put the bunk up. When you put the bed up, always make sure that all the canvas is on the inside of the seals. Their seal like runs around the entire perimeter of the bed door. So you want all the canvas on the inside so water can't leak in, and that's all there is to it. It's very simple. All right, so let's move on. This is just some stuff here for you. This is part of your monitor panel and stuff for your backup camera. We'll show you that. This is a tire monitor that we have programmed for you. You can use it or not use it. It's up to you. But it basically tells you your tire pressure and the temperature, the general temperature of each axle, each at the wheel. So it'll give you 4 different tire pressures and then 4 different temperatures. Okay, you can read up more about that. And this is your wireless Bluetooth brake controller. Okay, this is the rack for your griddle, and that's the griddle itself for hanging on the outside of the trailer. Now this, I don't know, they've got this apart here. Apparently just missing a screw. I'll put that on for you. But I'll show you how this works. I assume he's got the gas on. If not, well, I'll just talk you through it. Let's see here. So, he doesn't actually. So anyway, if you had the gas on, you just push this button to light it. So you turn the knob to light, push the button. All right, that's pretty simple. Three burners, 3 knobs. So this is the oven knob here. Now the oven at the very bottom all the way to the back, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a pilot light. You can see me sparking it right there. Right? So what you do is you go to pilot. It's very difficult to see the way they've got this, let me see if I can find it here, the way they've got the letters or the names stenciled on there. Anyway, so you're going to depress it at pilot. You hold it in and don't let it go. Keep holding it in. Then you're going to spark it here until the pilot light down here lights. Once it lights, you hold it for another 10 seconds, and then you go to operating temperature, whichever temperature you want. It cycles as an oven does. But when you shut it off, the flame obviously goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Now, if it doesn't, odds are if you haven't used the oven for a while, it's not going to light right up. It's just the nature of it. The gas comes through for the pilot light comes through a very small tube. So it takes a while. So what happens if you give it a good 8 pokes and it doesn't start, you can shut it off, go back to pilot and depress it again and do it again. It'll almost surely light the second time. But if it doesn't, it might take a third try. But always shut it back off and turn it back on. If you're using it regularly, then it'll light right up. But like I said, if it doesn't use it that often, it takes a little bit of effort, like 2 or 3 tries to get it to start. Okay, I hope that made sense. Sometimes my mouth is working too fast, or my brain's working too slow, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Anyway, these are your fan light combos. They have a fan and a light in them. You get 2 of them. They hang on this bar here, this middle bar, and they plug in right there, so you can cool yourself down or get a ring light at night. These are mattress controllers. The mattress has actually warming coils in it. Don't think heat, think warm, because it doesn't get hot, it just warms it up. So you'd plug one end of this in to here on the mattress, that plastic port, and the other end goes into the nearest 110, which would be right here. And then it has an analog dial on it to set the temperature, okay? Now, this is also a bed, so this folds over. We can talk to you about this when you come here, but it folds completely over and flat, so that's a bed. Also, this table will fold down flat. You just push this yellow tab to the right and then just collapse the hinges. Then you'll set it on these cleats here. There's one right there, one right there, and then one in the back on each side. There's 4 of them, and some Velcro on them. So you set that in the down position, then you would use the back cushions to fill in the space and turn it into another bed. But this is important. You always travel with the bed or the table in the down position. Never leave it up, because it'll bounce if you hit a wild bump, and it can break a window or ding up your cupboards, that sort of thing. So you always want to travel with it in the down position. That's very important. Okay? Now while we're here, this device here is a carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. Alright, so I'm going to set it off so you can hear it. Goes through 2 self-tests, one for LP, one for carbon monoxide. Coming up. Okay, and then back to green. So if it goes off, obviously you take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut the gas off at the front, and then figure out what's going on. Alright? If you ever look at it and it's not green, you want to get it serviced, because it's very important to have, obviously. Also, if it beeps that same beep, but really, really slowly, it's telling you that your battery's low. So it does 3 things, alright? Okay, so we got some more stuff here somewhere. I'm just trying to find out where they put it. Obviously you have remotes, one for your radio, one for your TV. The radio plays discs also. You can see it does DVDs and CDs, AM, FM radio. You can stream off this USB right here, right? Put all your favorite albums on a stick. You can hook up with Bluetooth and stream from your phone or tablet. Also, if you want to go into the system, let's say you got a game machine for rainy days, you can set it right here and plug it straight into this HDMI goes in. So you plug it right into there, and you can, pass the rainy days, that sort of thing. The TV is on a swing out bracket, obviously. The thing to know, let me see what we've got here. Up here, hopefully you can see this, but let me get my hand out of the way. Right there, there's a light right there. I can shut it off. The green light is off. You want it on like that. That's the signal booster for the digital antenna. So you always want to make sure that that's on, or you won't get a good picture. Also, this is how you operate the antenna right here. It rotates. It doesn't go up and down anymore. They just rotate. So you just push up on the dial and spin it to fine-tune your reception in. Alrighty. So the refrigerator is a gas absorption refrigerator, meaning it'll run on 110 AC or LP gas. So this is on. Okay, you can shut that beep off, by the way. There's something new that's kind of annoying. You turn it on auto like that. Auto means electric. The reason they call it auto is because it automatically seeks out 110 AC. If it can't find it, it'll automatically switch to gas. Or if you leave early in the morning from the campsite to go out and exploring, it's a hot day, and a couple hours after you leave, the power goes out of the campsite, it'll automatically switch over to gas so you don't spoil your food. So that's where you want to keep it, is auto. Now you can dedicate it to gas for pulling it down the road by going like that, but keep in mind, it'll still, if it doesn't sense any electricity, it'll automatically switch over to gas. The only other thing to know about this is, well, we're actually missing a little part, which I'll get for you. this, well, I'll explain to you while I'm here. This cylinder on the end of that cable there, if you can see it, right there, that's a thermistor. That sets the temperature. Normally it's in a clip that goes right here. I'm going to put that on there for you. It's just a clip, it just sits inside and you can pull it loose. But basically you slide it up and down. You want it up all the way so the wire's taut, just like that. The higher you go with the thermistor, the cooler it is in the refrigerator. So you can see it says right here on the sticker, higher, cooler, lower, warmer. So I'll make sure you have the sticker or the clip there, but that's how you set the temperature. The other thing down here is this device is a power converter. So it converts 110 AC down to 12 volt DC. Okay. So on this side you have 110 AC, regular household circuit breakers here. You see they're all labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC over here. You see you got 12 volt fuses that are all labeled. If any of the fuses were to blow, for example, they'll light up and you can see them through this tinted plastic here, right? And last but not least, this is also a battery tender. So as long as you're plugged into shore power, it'll sense how much energy your battery has or needs. And if it's low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever it needs. If it's charged, it'll just trickle a couple to maintain it. So it'll keep your battery charged too. So your tow vehicle charges your battery when you're pulling it down the road, and this charges it. This power converter charges your battery when you're plugged in. Okay. Alrighty, so you have a power vent here, which is a great thing. It's got a cover over it. Keep that in mind. You got 4 speeds. It really does a great job venting the trailer when it's not quite cold enough or warm enough for air conditioning. You have another one in the bathroom here, same model, with a cover over it, so that's really cool. Your sink and shower work like any other sink and shower, except this device here, which is a shower miser. Basically, it's a water circulating device. So basically, normally while you're waiting for your water to heat up, for the cold water to get pushed out of the pipes and to heat up, it would just use fresh water and then send it down the drain while it's doing that. Well, when you put it in this position here, it'll recycle it. So it's just a loop. So it just sends the water around in a loop without dumping it into your gray tank or using up your fresh water. So in areas of the country where there's no water issue, that's not that big a deal. But if you're in parts of California or whatever where they've got drought conditions, it's important to just not waste the water, obviously. But also it is important not to waste the free space in your gray tank by filling it with the wastewater from heating it up, right? So what happens once the water gets hot, this will change color. You'll see it change to a distinctly different color of blue. Then you'll put it into regular operating mode and it works like a shower. So it's just a water circulator and a recirculator, and it just conserves water and space in your gray tank. Keep in mind, in your packet you have literature on all these devices in the trailer, all the appliances, all the devices. But you can go online and look at their manufacturer's videos. That's a great way to learn. So everything in here, you just get the model number, a description of what it is, and type it into the YouTube, for example, and you'll be able to find manufacturers' videos on all this stuff. Okay. All right. The other thing to know is that the toilet has to have chemical and water in it before you start to use it. This is the flush pedal here. Okay. So your black tank is empty, right? Actually, your black tank is right below there in reality, straight down. So your black tank is empty. You just pull into the campground. You hook up your water. You hook up the plumbing. So basically, you'll come in here, you'll take your chemical, whichever brand you use, you read the directions, find out what 1 dose is, you'll put it right there in the toilet bowl. Then, because we're hooked up to water, you'll step on the pedal here, water will come swirling out and wash the chemical into the black tank. You'll stand on this and put about a gallon of water in here. There's no way to tell exactly what a gallon of water is. You just have to use common sense. You have to have water and chemical in here when you start using it. That's always the case. If you were going to stay at the campground for another week, let's say, but you had to dump your black tank, so you're starting off again, you're staying there, you would come back in here and repeat that procedure. Chemical and about a gallon of water. Alright? Also, when it defaults to about this full when you flush it, right? If you want to put more water in there, you just partially push on the pedal. You can push it so before the trap opens, and it'll activate the valve, and you can fill the toilet as much as you want with water. before you use it. Okay. All right. I think we're about getting there. Let me look around here. I got to remember what I told you I was going to do. I got to get you a clip for your thermistor. Okay. All right. So, well, we'll go over some stuff with you too when you pick it up. But just keep in mind the important things I told you. One of them is always inspect your roof every 90 days. That's very important for anybody who owns a trailer. If you keep all the sealant on the trailer, also you don't have to be as vigilant, but you also look on the side of the trailer. Any place you see caulk that the manufacturer put on, you're just going to like the corner moldings, things like that. Just keep an eye on that. Never use caulk from a hardware store. It's got to come the proper stuff from an RV place, and that's for sure. It's not the same caulk. Also, when you bypass or when you winterize the trailer, you have to bypass the water heater. Also, there's a water filter in here. I still haven't seen it yet. Let me look here. Here we go. This is your packet with all your info in there. Okay. This water filter, right? And this is the wrench for it. It slides up over the canister and spin it off. So right by your water pump, you'll find a water filter canister. So if you choose to put the filter in, you have to change it every season. You know, so you would put a new one in after winterizing or de-winterize it in the spring, and then before you winterize it the fall, you take it and throw it out. So you just put a new one in every spring. But keep in mind that can be installed too. The canister's already there. You just have to put the filter in if you choose to. Okay. I think that covers it then. So, okay, so remember what I said about inspecting the roof and winterizing your trailer. And just make sure you, if you have to put this away with the bunks wet, the canvas is wet, that's fine. But as soon as you get home, the first day that you can, and I mean the first day you can, you open it up and let it completely dry out. Even if you're not going to use this for a summer, you still want to open it up at least a few times throughout the summer. Just let the wind whistle through it and let it just dry out. So it's important to do that. So make sure you always let the wind dry your canvases off if you put it away wet. That includes if the morning dew is still on it. Sometimes you leave early in the morning, so you can't really do much about that. But you just have to remember to open them up and let them dry out as soon as you can. Okay. The same thing goes for the awning, but mainly for the bed ends. Okay. All right. Thank you.